Greetings. Today on TV Box Stop, I feature a unique TV box like you have never seen before. This box is not meant for everyone. It's a high-end box that you have to assemble, and it provides premium entertainment on the best hardware, and it delivers the highest performance in the TV box industry. This box is the Mecool vs Rockchip RK3399 Hexa-core 64-bit DIY Super Development Board. This is one of the biggest releases for 2017, and it comes with amazing features, so stay tuned. We have more in a minute. Thanks for staying with us. So what I have here is the box that it comes packed in. It's made from a high-quality material with some specifications at the bottom. It shows that it has a dual CPU design, comprising of a dual-core Codecs A72 running up to 2.0 GHz, and the second one is a quad-core Cortex A53 running up to 1.5 GHz. It runs on a new GPU, which is the Mali T864 GPU, with 4K UHD, H.265 and VP9 decoding support. It has dual MIPI CSI and ISP. And it comes with a USB Type-C board. It comes with 4GB of RAM and 32GB of internal storage. So I'll just take a minute to unpack the components of the device. In the box, you have all the components needed to assemble the device. You have the Super Development mainboard itself, which comes wrapped in an anti-static bag for protection. You get one IR remote, one HDMI cable, a universal 12 volts 2 amps power adapter with interchangeable plugs, which is a really good addition for other TV box manufacturers to follow. And you should also note that it uses a higher voltage than regular TV boxes. This is a good indicator of the power of the device. You get a pack with the top and bottom panels of the housing, a pack of housing connector bolts, a pack with 2 external antennas, and a detailed user's manual. So I'll take a few minutes to assemble the device, and once completed I'll continue. So I've successfully assembled the device, and let's take a look at what makes this a super development board. To the back, you get one HDMI board, 4 USB 2.0 ports, you get one RJ45 Ethernet LAN port, one USB 3.0 port, and a USB Type-C board. To the side, you get one 2.5 mm 42-pin GPIO header, which allows you to connect to electronic input-output circuits via breadboards, etc. There's a 3-pin DIP 2.54mm connector, and to the side of the GPIO header, there are two wireless terminals, one Wi-Fi, and one Bluetooth terminal which connects to either of the external antennas. To the other side, you have more interesting ports. You have a DVP camera port, and an EDP 1.3 display port with full lanes at 10.8 gigabits per second, IPEX 0.530p. You have a 3G 4G microphone, a 3G 4G SBKDIP 2.02p port, and a reset button. To the front, we have even more interesting features. You get one SD card slot and one SIM card slot. Yes, you heard right, you have the ability to insert a SIM card for receiving mobile data and making calls. You get one optical audio port, a front microphone, one audio-video jack, a power button, a recovery button, and a DC power input. To the top of the board you have two MIPI CSI 13 megapixels camera ports, a 2-pin 12 volts input DC power connector, and a 2-pin micro chassis fan connector. To the bottom, it gets even more interesting. You have a MIPI DSI display connector for displays with resolutions of up to 2560 by 1600 at 60 frames per second. And you also have one PCI Express 1.0 M2 port with 3G 4G capability, for expanding internal storage and for the optional use of LTE service. So I'm really quite excited to connect this device to my TV, so I'll just take a second, and when I return I'll continue. So I'm back, and to get things started, the Mecool VS boots up with a Video Strong logo followed by an Android animation. It takes just a few seconds. And then you are presented with this launcher. The launcher used in this device is what you'd call the Android default launcher. It's the same layout you'd normally see on most cell phones, and it comes with all the features you're accustomed to. Unlike similar products like the Codecs Vim2, the Mecool VS programming was specifically designed for use as a high-end TV box in this application. The launcher comes with a navigation bar at the bottom, and at the top you have a status bar for easy navigation and multitasking. This launcher also can be customized to suit your needs. You have the option to add shortcuts directly from the Apps section. This is done by simply clicking and dragging it to where you'd like. The same applies if you would like to uninstall an application. This launcher comes with additional features like the option to change wallpapers, and the option to add widgets the same way it's done on smartphones. So I've installed a live wallpaper in keeping with the Christmas season, and a clock widget which displays the date and time. Let's open the Apps section. Here in the Apps section, you have some regular default applications like the Google Play Store, Chrome browser, Gmail, and APK installer. In addition, it comes with apps like Netflix, YouTube, and TV Center for streaming movies and TV shows. I'll now install my usual set of system information and benchmarking applications, and I'll move on to the next segment. So I've installed all the apps needed for this segment, and first let's check to see if the box is rooted. It shows that the box is rooted, running on Android 7.1.2 Nougat operating system. This is great news, as it grants full access to the Google Play Store, allowing you to install any app without restrictions. I'll be testing how well the root permissions work with my key mapping application later on. Let's take a look at the DRM information. Well, as expected, the box only has support for Google Widevine and CENC Clear Key. This affects Netflix, allowing it to only show in standard quality. Let's take a look at its system and hardware information. Under System, the manufacturer is Rockchip and the model is the RK3399. Below it shows that the box comes with 4GB of RAM, which is DDR3 RAM actually, and below is the remaining available RAM and internal storage from the 32GB after the Android installation and apps installed on the box. Under CPU, it shows the 6-core CPU combination of the Cortex A53 at 1.4 GHz, and the Cortex A72 at 1.8 GHz. The maximum CPU clock range of 2.0 is limited for safety, I believe, to control the overheating situation seen in some of the other hexacore boxes, and we'll see how this is reflected in the temperature results. Below it also shows that the box has support for 32 and 64-bit ABIs, which means that it can run 64-bit applications. Under Display, it shows the screen resolution, and it shows that the GPU is the ARM Mali T860 quad-core GPU, and not the Mali T864 as stated on the box. I believe that was a typographical error. Under Network, there's a new section here for mobile network information once a SIM card is inserted, and I'll test this feature later on. Below it shows that this device has dual-band Wi-Fi support. Under Android information, again it shows that the operating system is Android 7.1.2 Nougat, and below it shows that the box is rooted. Under Devices, it shows that you have a host of USB Linux controllers, along with any other devices plugged into the device. Under Thermal information, I am currently running the passive cooling fan device on this box, and keeps the temperatures between 40 to 45 degrees Celsius on normal AC room temperature, and you'll keep an eye on the temperature monitor to the top of the screen during gameplay and 4K video demonstration. Under Codecs information, you have the usual set of codecs like H.264, HEVC and VP9 decoding, and we'll see how well they perform in the 4K video segment. And that's it for system and hardware information. I now move on to the benchmarks. First I have the results of the memory read and write speeds. The Mecool VS has a RAM copy speed of 8158 MB per second. The internal storage has a read speed of 98 MB per second and a write speed of 82, and the SD card reader has a read speed of 13 MB per second and a write speed of 15. These scores are really high scores, consistent with high-end Rockchip boxes. I now have the Wi-Fi speed results. So I have decided to include the results of both the Ethernet and Wi-Fi speeds. And the results show that on the 5.8 and the 2.4 band, the speeds hit and exceeded my maximum internet connection of 30 MB. Likewise, the Ethernet LAN connection hit the maximum speed with every try, which means that this box has the best Wi-Fi hardware for internet connection. I now show the results of the Antutu benchmark. And it shows that the Mecool VS got a score of 81,371. This score is twice as high when compared to Amlogic S912 boxes, and even the new All-Winner boxes. Now the results of the Geekbench 4 CPU benchmark. The Mecool VS has a Geekbench 4 score of 1,261 single-core, and 2,726 multi-core. Again we see the scores being much higher than the Amlogic boxes. And last I have the results of the Ice Storm Extreme GPU benchmark. And it shows that the box got a score of 7,697, which is higher than most Amlogic boxes. That's it for the benchmarks. I'll now test its 4K capability. The 4K samples ran okay, with the exception of the second jellyfish video at 400 megabits per second. One thing to note is that not all media players ran well on this box. The VLC player and the default gallery player worked the best. Let's take a look at the YouTube application to see what's the highest resolution. Well, as you can see, YouTube plays only up to 1080p on this box. I promised to test the SIM card feature on the board, but unfortunately when I entered the card it failed to recognize the SIM. So I'm not sure if I'm doing this procedure the right way, as it's the first time I'm testing this feature. For my final demonstration, I'll test the 3D graphics capability of the box by playing a few games. Take note, my key mapping application did not work on this device, as there was a problem with the root access and there were insufficient permissions for it to work. So I'm only running games that are compatible with mouse and gamepads.
Protocol activated. Select panel for firing mode. Field monitors online. Calibrating frequency modulation.
Copy that.
If deflectors are knocked out and you do take physical damage, perform evasive maneuvers and give the onboard emergency nanomachines enough time to initiate repairs.
Well, as you can see, the Mecool VS is a good gamer, and it's a shame I couldn't get the key mapping application to work like in the new all-winner boxes, such as in the B-Link GS1 and the Zedo H6 Pro. So in summary, the Mecool VS is a super development board with a lot of features, some of which I will never use. However, like I said at the beginning of this video, this box is not for everyone. This box goes above and beyond what you would normally do with a regular box. They solved the overheating problem by lowering the maximum CPU clock range to 1.8 GHz, and the hardware performance benchmarks was high above average. The user interface is easy to use with lots of features, and 4K videos and 3D gaming ran quite well. On the flip side, even though the box is rooted, my key mapping application did not work, limiting me to what games I can play, which is a shame. because this box has the best hardware to date. Also, the TS4K video format had some difficulty with certain media players. I couldn't get the SIM card feature to detect my SIM card, which would have been a nice addition to this review. However, I believe all these problems can be fixed via a firmware update, so I'll be looking forward to that. And finally, the box has a high price tag at around $199, which is a reflection of what the board can do from a technical standpoint, but most regular users will have a problem with the price, which reinforces my position where I said that this box is not for everyone. I have come to the end of my review of the Mecool vs Rockchip RK3399 Hexacore 64-bit DIY Super Development Board. So if you have an interest in this device, or feel that you can use it in different projects with its super powerful features, see the link provided in the description area below this video. Also remember to take advantage of the Christmas promotion currently running on gearbest.com. Thanks for watching. Remember to like this video if you found it informative, share it with your friends, and subscribe to this channel for more TV Box Top videos.